What is up, guys? Today we're going to be comparing the iPhone 13 to the LG V60 here. So this was a request, so let's go ahead and get into it. And yes, the LG V60 is on LG's update list to get Android 13, so you can still buy this phone, as long as LG keeps their promise of updating it. $400 for the V60. I'll have that link down below. iPhone 13 is going to set you back, I believe, $800. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into it here. So as far as hardware wise, you can see very similar as far as material. We do have a glass and metal build on both of these phones. Both of these guys do have an IP68 dust and water resistant as well. And if we just go over the two bodies of these phones, you can see the V60 is a really big and tall phone. So if you don't like tall phones, you might not like this phone. To me, the 13 looks a little thicker actually. You can see power button on the right side of both, left side volume rockers, mute vibration switch on the iPhone, Google Assistant button on the V60, and also what you'll notice that the V60 has, which we'll talk about, headphone jack with a quad DAC, really big feature for music lovers. And then we have our charging ports, and both of these phones have stereo speakers, which we will compare. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about the displays on both of these guys. So displays are actually a little bit similar than you would think, mostly because the iPhone 13 did not get any type of high refresh rate, and the V60 does not have high refresh rate either. So iPhone has the super long name. I'm just going to call it the Retina display for right now. It's got HDR10 Dolby Vision. It's 6.1 inches, 1170 by 2532 resolution, and then 460 for the PPI. The notch is 20% smaller. Then on the V60, we do have a 6.8 inch, so just a big massive display, as you can probably tell here. 6.8 inch HDR10 plus. It's a 1080p panel, 395 for the PPI. So the big difference here is obviously size, but also as far as color, they actually both look extremely identical. I can't really tell the difference between color, and I would go with the V60's display solely because the iPhone just kind of has a bigger notch. You can see the V60 does have a little bit more bezel, but it's got the water drop notch, so it doesn't cut into content as much. But honestly, two very good looking displays here. But again, I mean, the notch for iPhone users, the notch is technically smaller, but I've been hearing people say that they actually don't like the way the notch looks or something like that, which is funny. So they say they prefer the bigger one. Alright, so we have the Apple A15 chip running iOS 15, and then we have no SD card support on the iPhone, of course, and then 128 gigs of internal storage and 4 gigs of RAM here. And then on the V60, we have Android 11 on here. We do have micro SD card support, 128 gigs of internal storage and 8 gigs of RAM here. So just to show you your Geekbench scores here, so you can get an idea of that. I just saw it. Just to show you the scores that you are working with. And honestly, both phones are very fast, so I wouldn't really trip up over that if you are considering. So here are the scores for the A65 A15 chip. And honestly, if you want to compare, launching applications, I don't think it's going to be too far off. And also gaming is going to be pretty much, pretty much the same. So you can see not a real difference when your day-to-day tasks here isn't going to be, a massive difference here. The V60 is able to keep up with the 13 perfectly fine here. So really no issues. You can see literally pretty much a tie right there. And also your gaming experience, so they're both going to be able to play, PUBG maxed out. The reason why I would give it to the V60 here is because we do have dual screen case capability, so it does take your gaming experience. And also, if you're just a power user, you can take that experience to the next level, as far as using two screens to, be able to play your games, or just two screens to multitask. So I do think that's a big deal. And honestly, if you spend $400, you get the dual screen for, I think it's around 80, $100. Then you get basically, you basically get two phones, honestly, at that point. As you can see for PUBG, so the V60 is going to be able to play games at the same settings as the 13 here. Zero issues, Ultra HD, everything. So no issues there. Let's go ahead and get into PUBG. So I would have liked to seen, I would have liked to see high refresh rate on actually both of these phones. But I think next year we'll probably see it on the standard 14. But PUBG gaming, everything. I have gaming tests. I'm gonna drop my gaming test for a 13. I have, I think, 2 gaming tests for the V60. So be sure to check that out. But as far as speed and gaming, these phones are going to be pretty much matched here. All right, let's go ahead and check out the speakers here and see which one is going to sound the best here. Wow, they actually almost sound identical, almost. I think the iPhone might have a little bit more bass. No, these sound extremely close. Like, to the point where I can't really even tell the difference. Yeah, that's way too close to be able to say which one, because I honestly can't tell the difference. Yeah, alright, so both speakers are just extremely loud, very thumpy, and I'm surprised at the iPhone 13 speakers. Like I said when I first did the unboxing, very good speaker setup, almost pretty much tied with the V60 here. And do I have the Dolby Atmos on here? I have my LG 3D sound engine. I can turn that on and see if I get a different sound. No, I don't like that sound. Yeah, so basically the same as far as your speaker quality. That's pretty impressive on the iPhone's part, because the V60 does have one of the best speakers that I've heard. So let's talk about some of the additional features, starting with the V60. Of course, we do have the dual screen case, so again we can turn it into basically 2 phones. We have the headphone jack with a quad DAC on the V60, which is a big deal for people who are serious about audio listening. You're going to get some excellent sounding audio out of the V60 here. And we also have NFC, IP68, wireless charging on here as well. And as far as the fingerprint scanner, it works great, but there's no option for face unlock on the V60, unfortunately. So you guys know I always prefer having at least 2 methods on my phone's face unlock and a fingerprint sensor. And with the iPhone, we have pretty much a lot of the similar stuff. No, of course, dual screen case or anything like that, but we do have Apple Pay on here, IP68, wireless charging on here. We also have face unlock, which works pretty good on here as well. And again, no physical fingerprint scanner or in-display fingerprint sensor on the 13. Let's talk about the camera. So on the iPhone 13, we do have a dual camera setup here. It's a 12 megapixel standard, and then we have a 12 megapixel ultra wide, as well as 4K video at 24, 30, or 60 FPS. We also have a 12 megapixel selfie cam that shoots in 4K at 24, 25, 30, and 60 FPS. The iPhone 13 is going to give you what you would expect as far as images and video. You're going to get some flagship quality photos here. Great color, great dynamic range. Also, this device does a pretty good job in low light as well. So you're just going to get some very nice color accurate, crispy photos here. Apple also has the cinematic mode on the iPhone 13, or you can think of it as a portrait video, which is really cool. So for people who want to like maybe start YouTube channels, start vlogging, stuff like that, this could be a good phone to start off with. Most definitely it's going to give you that really cool depth of feeling. So the iPhone 13's cameras are very good, what you would expect from a flagship. And the V60 at this price point also does deliver some really good cameras here. You actually have a triple camera setup, a 64 megapixel standard, a 13 megapixel ultra wide, and a 0.3 depth sensor as well. You have 8K video on here, which the iPhone does not. And then you have 30 FPS for that, and then you have a 10 megapixel selfie with 4K video at 30 FPS. The V60 is going to also take some very good photos. Also, considering the price, I thought the photos were pretty close in terms of quality. You're just going to get some very good detailed shots on here. Very good color. Color is very true to life on the V60, which is something that I really like. So overall, I was really happy with image quality on the V60 as well. Selfie cam is pretty good. Colors are really good. So overall, as you can see from the shots, you're going to get some very good cameras, depending on, which phone you go with. I think you'll be happy with either one. Alright, so battery life is going to be actually very good on both of these phones. So the iPhone 13 has a 3,240 milliamp battery, 20 watt charging, and then you have the MagSafe wireless charging. The V60 does have a bigger 5,000 milliamp battery with wireless charging. Both of these phones are going to do an excellent job in terms of a screen on time. You can go a full day with these phones, no problem. The V60 is actually one of my go-to phones if I'm going to be out. It's one of the phones that I'll just bring with me because the standby time is just really excellent on the V60, and battery life is just going to be excellent on both of these devices. So if you're worried about battery life, these two phones are going to do an excellent job with that, which I was really happy with the iPhone, being that usually these phones usually are just okay with battery life. And again, this is from a perspective of not using 5G. So if you're on 5G, it could be kind of different for you. But again, good battery life on both of these phones. So that's pretty much it, guys. What do you guys think? Be sure to let me know, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.